This co-teaching foundational training is brought to you by your Directors of Field Experience, Ashley Carton and Allison Boggs. Goals for this presentation include providing a brief history on co-teaching to highlight the benefits of developing new teachers with a co-teaching model, as well as the influence on student achievement. Outlining the roles of the players in the co-teaching model and the 4 stages a teacher candidate experiences during student teaching. Introduce the 7 co-teaching strategies and share some examples of how they could be taken up in your classes. Background. Many of the materials and research for this presentation was provided by Dr. Teresa Heck and Dr. Nancy Bacharach. They're from the Academy for Co-Teaching in collaboration at St. Cloud State University and the TWH Consulting Research Firm. Co-teaching history. Co-teaching is based on research that came out of work in special education. As you may know, co-teaching is not a new idea, but it is new in the sense of how we can move this framework into student teaching and support novice teachers in an intentionally designed environment. There are specific strategies within the co-teaching model which we will present, and it is very structured but flexible. It's a collaborative approach for 2 teachers to work together and learn from one another in the classroom. Here are a few other citations on co-teaching scholarship that you may wish to explore to get a sense of co-teaching as an approach and the research from the field. We've included a few oldies but goodies, as well as more recent citations that summarize research on the model. Co-teaching is defined as 2 teachers, mentor-teacher and teacher-candidate, working together with groups of students, sharing the planning, organization, delivery, and assessment of instruction, as well as physical space. Both teachers are actively involved and engaged in all aspects of instruction. Co-teaching is going to look a little different than the traditional student teaching experience because one of the main goals is for the teacher candidate and mentor teacher to work together and learn from one another throughout the entire semester. When we go over the 7 strategies, you'll see how both adults are actively engaged in teaching at all times. This may take some cooperating teachers out of their comfort zone, but resources will assist you in creating appropriate roles. Some may think, I don't know what we both should do. However, co-teaching is an attitude of sharing in the classroom and the students. Co-teachers must always be thinking, we are both teaching. First, I would like to contrast the traditional model with co-teaching. Traditionally, there's no formal method for preparing TCs and CTs to work together professionally. In traditional classrooms, the mentor teacher takes on the role as lead teacher and uses a gradual release of responsibility, culminating in the student teacher teaching independently, which is often referred to as soloing, and often in a very limited amount of time at the end of the student teaching experience. In traditional classrooms, the TC develops lesson plans in isolation and presents plans well in advance for the mentor teacher's revisions. This lag time is artificial. Initially, the teacher candidate starts the student teaching experience participating minimally and slowly transitioning into more active roles as the semester progresses. In co-teaching, the mentor teacher and the TC are both trained in co-teaching, professional collaboration, communication, and relationship building. The role of lead teacher is shared throughout the entire semester. The teacher candidate and mentor-teacher both plan lessons together throughout the experience, with the mentor-teacher leading early in the experience and the teacher candidate taking the lead as the experience progresses. The teacher candidate begins teaching the first day. Again, to contrast, the traditional model. In the traditional model, the mentor-teacher expects that the teacher candidate will come prepared to plan lessons, utilize a variety of instructional strategies, and fully manage the classroom on their own. At times, the mentor-teacher might even want to leave the classroom and say, "See you at the end of the semester," and work on other projects. The mentor teachers are master teachers. Much of what they do comes naturally. Having them leave the classroom causes teachers to miss out on seeing their modeling. And teacher candidates are just learning instructional practices and may have only tried the specific method out once or twice previously. They're not ready to handle it all on their own. Again, contrasting the two models. Traditionally, the mentor-teacher expects that student teachers will come prepared to plan lessons, use a variety of instructional strategies, and fully manage the classroom on their own. At times, the mentor-teacher may say, "I'll see you at the end of the semester," and work on another project. Mentor teachers are master teachers, and much of what they do comes naturally. Teacher candidates are just learning instructional strategies and may have only tried the specific method out once or twice. They're not ready to handle it on their own. In contrast, the co-teaching model provides a mentor teacher who will model and coach and make the invisible visible by explicitly sharing their rationale for instructional, curricular, and management decisions through co-planning and co-teaching. This allows the teacher candidate time to develop and practice strategies with help and support. Again, with the typical situation, a student teacher and a cooperating teacher have a power differential. The student teacher may not feel that it's their classroom, it's their students, it's their curriculum. The students may also pick up on that the student teacher is not their real teacher, which could affect their behavior and learning. In the co-teaching model, the power differential between the teacher candidate and the mentor teacher is discussed and evenly balanced. Why co-teach? There are many benefits to co-teaching, which are listed here. Co-teaching in P12 classrooms. This study had 856 pairs over 4 years. It impacted 35,000 students in central Minnesota. One of the goals of this study was to look at the effects of that co-teaching had on student performance. Teresa and Nancy tracked student performance over 4 years and compared the co-teaching model to classrooms with teacher candidates where they didn't co-teach and classrooms where there was just a teacher. Comparison groups were at the same schools so that the student demographics were similar. Academic results were quite amazing. These are the assessments they used. In reading proficiency, you can see that the co-teaching model achieved more than the just one teacher or non-co-teaching model. Same with year 2. And year 4. The increase in achievement was also shown among students in all special populations, ELL, special ed, and students who require meal assistance. Math proficiency was a similar story. Year 1 and 2. year 4. Other key findings. Through focus groups, they came up with these findings. Secondary students felt they got more help with questions. Teachers built off each other. They got 2 perspectives. The assignments were graded and returned faster. Students behaved better and fewer class disruptions. Teacher candidates felt their classroom management skills improved. They had increased collaboration skills. They had more teaching time and increased confidence and a deeper understanding of curriculum through co-planning, more opportunities to ask questions and reflect, and being seen as the real teacher, equal partnership, sharing resources, and mutual support and learning. The mentor teachers felt they had the ability to reach more students, particularly those with high needs. They had a better relationship with their teacher candidate. They experienced professional growth themselves. They had enhanced energy for teaching. They hosted a candidate without having to give up their classroom. The teacher candidate had a better experience than they would have had with a traditional model. They had the ability to do projects more successfully. Class time was more productive. Modeling and participating in teamwork. And candidates became competent more quickly. The study also followed some teachers into the first 3 years of their teaching career, and these new teachers shared that they were able to do better to differentiate instruction. They felt more comfortable collaborating with other teachers in professional settings and sought out opportunities to reflect. As you know, the student teaching semester is the culminating experience in the teacher preparation program. Each person in the triad plays a critical role. The mentor teacher guides the TC through gradual release of responsibility, understanding students, the educational system, the school, the community, and the teaching and learning process. They support the teacher candidate's planning, instruction, assessment, and provide feedback and evaluate growth in the classroom. The supervisor serves as a resource and point of contact for both the teacher candidate and the mentor teacher. They conduct regular observation visits, conferences, and provide support, evaluation, and feedback throughout the semester. They also serve as a seminar leader and advocate for the TC. Mentor teachers have the same responsibility as in the traditional student teaching. However, what is different is that mentor teachers engage in intentional co-planning and implementing the 7 co-teaching strategies within this collaborative framework during the school day with students. The university supervisors' roles are similar as well. However, they'll be observing and supporting the candidates within the co-teaching model. So the university supervisor will be a supportive member of the triad by providing feedback not only on the content of the lesson, but also with the 7 co-teaching strategies. Teacher candidates, come ready to learn. Be enthusiastic and show initiative. Introduce yourself to team members and school personnel. Ask questions and discuss professional issues. Share ideas and work collaboratively. Be flexible. Help with all classroom responsibilities, record keeping, grading, etc. Know your content and be a continuous learner. Plan engaging, standards-based lessons. Understand and implement the 7 co-teaching strategies. Accept feedback and put suggestions for improvement into practice. Be proactive in initiating communication with your triad members. Demonstrate respectful behaviors. Be reflective about your practice. Be patient with yourself and your cooperating teacher. Be a sponge. Learn all you can from everyone in the building. Here are the co-teaching strategies. The first two are the most commonly used. One teach, one observe. This is only effective if the person observing has a real purpose for their observation. One teacher has the primary instructional responsibility while the other gathers specific observational information on students or the instructing teacher. The observer may observe for student understanding and/or questions, specific teacher behaviors, individual student participation. Station teaching. The co-teaching pair will divide the instructional content into parts. Each teacher instructs one of the groups. Groups then rotate or spend a designated amount of time at each station. For example, 3 or more science stations might each contain a different experiment. They could be organized with the teacher and the student teacher working within the 2 stations that need the most supervision. One teach, one assist. One teacher has the primary instructional responsibility while the other assists students with their work, monitors behaviors, or corrects assignments. The assisting teacher can circulate and check for comprehension, provide one-on-one support as needed, and assess student work. Parallel teaching. In this approach, each teacher instructs half the students. The 2 teachers are addressing the same instructional material using the same teaching strategies. This can be done with any lesson. The main objective with this strategy is to reduce student-teacher ratio. Supplemental teaching. This strategy allows one teacher to work with students at their expected grade level while the other teacher works with those students who need the information and/or materials extended or remediated. One teacher is working with a majority of the class on proofreading their stories. The other teacher pulls 5 students for a remedial lesson on punctuation. Alternative differentiated teaching. Alternative teaching strategies provide 2 different approaches to teaching the same information. The learning outcomes are the same for all students. However, the avenue for getting there is different. One teacher is introducing a new vocabulary through context, while the other teacher is introducing the same words through pictures, role plays, and word worship between the 2 teachers. Team teaching is well-planned, team-taught lessons that exhibit an invisible flow of instruction with no prescribed division of authority. Both teachers are actively involved in the lesson. From a student's perspective, there's no clearly defined leader as both teachers share the instruction and are free to interject information available to assist students and answer questions. Both teachers are seamlessly presenting a poetry lesson and co-reading of The Raven. Throughout the discussion, both teachers are asking questions about different poetry devices. There's no hierarchy. The 7 co-teaching strategies are not sequential and do not build upon one another. Teams can start with any model. Here are 2 links to co-teaching in action that you could observe on YouTube. There are numerous available. Once you link on one, you'll see additional ones to look at besides these 2. This is how we plan the gradual release of responsibility. It's our proposed plan for week by week. So these are the 16 weeks of student teaching. In the beginning, they observe, assist, tutor, and within the first 4 weeks, they're beginning to design and lead instruction for part of the day. And by week 8, they're responsible for designing and leading 85 to 100% of instruction, assessment, and communications. Stages of concern for teacher candidates. There's the pre-teaching concern. In this stage, teacher candidates are critical of their mentors. They're idealistic, and they're still really closer to the student role. In the survival stage, it begins to hit them at how much there is to do. They have concerns about management, planning, evaluations. They feel very stressed and overwhelmed and feel like they may not be able to do it. Once they hit their rhythm, they start to realize they should have paid more attention in their methods course. They have mastery of content, but they still have concerns about methods and make little mistakes. And finally, in the last stage of student teaching, they realize that students are different, that they aren't all alike, and they start to see and feel concerned for specific people. In some ways, this whole process continues into the first 3 years of teaching with greater and greater awareness each year. Naming the strategies. Take a moment and try to remember all 7 co-teaching strategies. How many can you name? Which strategies are you comfortable with trying right now? Thank you so much for your participation. We appreciate it, and we continue to work with co-teaching in our student teaching program. Please send your written response to this prompt to fulfill the requirements of this training. Which co-teaching strategies are you already using, and for what purpose? Which new strategies are you most interested in trying, and why?